welcome to today's video, which is a change management dashboard. Previously we had done one in Excel, so you can see a dashboard that does refresh and can be posted to SharePoint and remain live, which I know a lot of people are interested in. We're going to tackle Power BI with this change management dashboard, looking at some of the most common key performance indicators that are used in the discipline. Okay, starting with percentage of emergency changes, we're going to use our KPI widget, which is ever so helpful in Power BI. It does recognize our analysis services based key performance indicators. The three conditions, if you may remember from our previous videos, are the value, the goal, and we need a trend, which is leveraging one of our canned date fields. We'll look at this year over year. That's a pretty common way to do it. Okay, so percentage of emergency changes is low. This could indicate a couple of different things. Either that your IT organization really is in chaos, or more likely scenario that you may have a process that's a little too inflexible, and people begin to mark things emergency to skip around the cumbersome process. They avoid the process. So this can really help you determine your agility, your internal agility, among other things. Next, we're going to use, of course, you always have to have, just for an understanding of the process area, the total over time, just to understand volume at a high level. So we're going to look at the total change requests, okay? Not a KPI widget, just the card. Now, this is across all time. We have no time filters yet on this report. You can add these page and report level filters depending on the situation, okay? I like to start with no filter. Here, you can see the speed of the queries that way. Filters are obviously very easy to create. You can also use these slicers to give the users their own filters, okay? Next, we'll look at the backlog, and I'm going to use a card for that one as well. The reason why is it's historical. It doesn't work so well with the time dimension, for those of you that understand it. So we'll look at the current backlog. We can look at historical backlogs here with the in the change backlog metrics from Northcraft. These are just custom. You can choose any backlog time frame that you want, but change backlog is also pretty important to look at. We want to see which ones are currently in the backlog. Next is percentage of successful changes. This is kind of a hooray! Here's our throughput as a percentage of successful changes. You can look at the same KPI in different ways depending on the organization's tolerance. You could put percentage of failed changes on the other hand to show you more of a negative view, or you could put the percentage of successful changes there. So this kind of may depend on who is looking at it. Okay, so we'll look at do a new KPI widget, look at percent of successful. So, potentially if it's, an executive that you're presenting the data to, you want to put the data in a more positive light, use something like percentage of successful. So do our value, goal, and our trend here. Keep the same trend across all of the KPIs. Don't choose month for one and year for the other, okay? Probably a good idea. And then just line our widgets up to make sure they line up, and we have a nice attractive dashboard interface. Okay, next we're going to go with the time series analysis piece. So we're going to do our line and line and clustered column chart. A bar and line is what this is really. And you always need to make sure that you choose a blank space on the canvas here when you're creating a new widget. If you start picking your metric and you're on an existing widget, then it will change your existing widget. Okay, all right, so we'll do our time series analysis, and there we want to look at simple volume total changes. Good way to find that is just use this metadata search feature here. we'll do changes closed. And then for time, let's do by month. Okay, zero changes over time. And then we might want to look at percentage of successful changes as our line value here. Okay, so we can see exactly which months over time might have been least successful. So now you can see the time series analysis capabilities. This is a great thing about analytics. We can look back across all of time on any volume of data. Okay, and what we're going to do here is just filter this data because I want to look at maybe just 13 months of it. So I'm going to have a, let's look at, let's do a year filter for this particular page. And we're only going to look at, let's say 2013 maybe. Is that good? There we go. Okay, so we'll look at 2013. And notice how your KPIs adjust automatically. Okay. That's a default feature within Power BI, which we think is extremely helpful. No coding necessary to connect these widgets to one another. Finally, we're going to add our table field here with our detailed fields that we'd like to view. And this could be what's the change ID, what's the status, what's the assignee, the implementer, the manager, the approver, etc. Here I'll just do some basic fields so you can see the capability, but see if we can drop in date there. There we go. Yeah, that's actually pretty nice. I'll put in the date of the change, and then you can search through all of those attributes here. So we'll look at status, for example. Note that you want to make sure it's coming from the dimension and not the metric, so that's at the bottom here indicated. So we'll do status, maybe the status reason, and the priority, and so on and so forth. So you can put any fields you like from the data set, even from different tables. So with our related dimensions, you have the ability to do that. Very simple. And what you'll notice here is that as I change these widgets here, we're looking at June. It shows us all the changes for June here. And our KPIs adjust. So pretty straightforward. Pretty simple, I think, to put that together. The one last thing you can add, and this is optional, and we do many times, is leverage these handy tree maps, okay? And this is, I can look at the volume and concentration of certain things. Maybe it's CIs or people or groups. Okay, so let's find our changes here. I think we were looking at closed changes. Choose any ones you like. Let's see here. Changes closed, and we'll look at the, excuse me, make sure you're touching your existing widget. Okay, changes closed, and then we'll look at those by again, anything you want. We'll look at them by priority. There we go. Okay, so you can see your helpful tree map here, and again, this widget is connected as well. Okay, most of these are low priority changes. We'll look at the high priority changes. So only 3 in the backlog there, for example, 3 high priorities. So that's helpful, but it looks like our percentage of successful changes is actually lower for high priority changes. So interesting little piece of analysis here. And well, that's all we've got for today. Thank you very much for your time. This is our change management dashboard. Let us know if you have any questions through the website, through the support center, or pick up the phone and call us. Thank you for your time.